and welcome to this week's show where we're in 1994 and we're in the hands of Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock as they try desperately to save a bus from exploding after Dennis Hopper has planted something rather pleasant. It's an extraordinary movie. Jan de Bont, of course, the director, and Gary Hymes, the stunt coordinator. And it's worth looking at in a bit more detail. We find out exactly how all of this extraordinary action took place. And it looks very much like this. Speed from 1994. Cracking movie. Brought Keanu to the world. And it's, of course, about this bus and the bomb which is planted upon it by Dennis Hopper. Got some behind the scenes stuff just to take on board what's going on. It's a massive project. I mean, the amount of setups that they did and the amount of action scenes they did and the amount of vehicles that they've written off and the amount of action thrown at the project. And it's got everything, you know, it really has got everything, and lots of big bangs too. This is Brian Smurs, not only a stuntman, but the assistant coordinator on the picture, and he is driving this. This is an actual vehicle. It's not being towed. It's a vehicle that is driving along and will now go up and through the billboard there, landing. So that's the first part. And again, he's about 3/4 of the way back driving that. He's not in the driving position. And then, of course, in the story, it goes along the road and will eventually turn over and slide along its side. You know, in order to get that, how do we do it? Well, you do what you do with other vehicles of that nature. Obviously, this is a slightly larger vehicle, but you get a pipe ramp. You build the pipe, you send it up the pipe, turn it over, bang, there it goes. And then it slides. It's going to just miss that camera there. It's going to take that camera out. Bang, there we go. That camera's gone for a Burton. And it will slide into position. Now, Billy Mortz is the guy who is doing a great deal of doubling for Keanu. He does this part, right? This is the long shot. And you see his legs hitting the floor. The rest of it will be, a lot of it is done by Keanu on this picture, but Billy does do a great deal of it. Keanu does a great deal of it too. And on top of it, there's Eddie Matthews who's doubling our villain, and Billy on top of the train. This is Gary Hymes, that's Gary under the cap, and one of these briefings with the toy cars happens at the start of every sequence, so that all the stunt guys know exactly where they're supposed to be. Here's the bus, here's the street layout, really simple. You're in this car here, you're going to be travelling around here, the bus comes around here, you cannot be here or you have to be here. So they're making all of this beforehand, so all of the stunt guys who are around will know that the vehicle they're driving in, they have to do this and then they have to go left or right depending on what the situation is. And of course, there's some head-on driving which happens in this sequence as well. Here's a great example of that. The bus coming down the road, cars having to just get out of the way at the last minute. One has to make contact. That one there just gets a quick slap. But look, seconds. So, you know, that's the way that they work it out. They work it out. It's a huge team effort. It has to be. And Brian, there's Brian again, is testing all of this for the actors. There's going to be an explosion. Remember the explosion? This happens in the subway sequence. He's going to have something just to protect his eyes so that there aren't any issues there. Now, this is Keanu doing the same gag we looked at earlier that Billy was doing. And then they work the two together. But that is real car, real bus, real speed. And he has to position himself. They have to come together. It's doing about 55, 60 miles an hour. He has to make that gap, and he jumps and he lands. Now, just out of shot, there is a board, but nevertheless, that's Keanu doing that. That is the mark of the guy, doing it for real, wanting to be involved. He does a lot of this too. Billy does a great deal of the stuff underneath the truck at speed, but Keanu does a lot of the stuff coming up under, approaching. Here's some of the behind the scenes stuff so we can see, and of course, he's being winched out from the vehicle in front of him, and he's being winched back. Now that's Billy to a point, right? And this trolley, look, it's designed by Ferrari. It's absolutely state-of-the-art. Racing wheels on that thing. There's not much clearance underneath, and it gets very freaky. But look, there's Billy, and a slight edit now, and they're almost separated at birth, these boys. I mean, a really fantastic double. So he does some of it. Keanu does some of it. Billy does the dangerous stuff. You don't need to put... And Keanu is fully aware of this. And there's a moment in the film where it gets a bit freaky, and he's got to go. And he disappears out of shot. There he goes. Wow. Now, the bus, of course, is actually being driven from the roof. On top of the roof, there is Gil Combs. He's the stuntman who's doing the driving. At the front of the bus, there is a bubble, a Perspex bubble, and in that is the camera position, and they can focus everything now on Sandy, who is driving. Sandra Bullock. I fell in love with Sandra Bullock during this movie. I think everybody else did. She's absolutely wonderful. And the two of them together. Now, the actual jump itself, JOPHREY BROWN is our stuntman. He is going to be jumping the bus for real, a veteran. And he is about 15 feet back in the bus. He's not at the front of the bus. There's a special suspension system which is being used. He is out of the seat. His backside is not on the seat, because when he lands, there will be a huge impact, and this could cause his back to compress, and it could break his back. So it's extremely dangerous. Ideally, he wants to get about 69 miles an hour out of this bus. It's not going to do it. I think he's about 60 miles an hour. He comes in, he's flat to the boards. There's a huge, look, the big ramp built there, whack, up in the air, bang, there's the impact. That's a huge impact. Let's go back and look at it again. Up the ramp, 80 tons of ramp. And look at the positioning. That's a retractable kicker on the end, which is why the bus's nose has gone right up in the air. Before the back wheels get to it, it retracts. There's the first impact at the back, and then the front comes down. It must be like a building falling down. And Joffrey's almost up by, I suppose, where the doors are in the middle of the bus. That's more or less where he is. That's an incredible feat to have done that. And it's one of those jumps that goes down in history. People get very freaky about the whole jump. They say, couldn't do this. It isn't possible to do it. They work it from different camera angles, and JOPHREY BROWN is a legend. Sadly, no longer with us, but a legend in the community. His brother, Calvin, was the very first black stuntman. He's he started all of this, the Black Stuntman's Association. And look at the carnage. But with the engineering, the team working with him, Joffrey was able to perform that extraordinary feat, and it to go down in film history, and a very happy man, Gary Hymes, too. So we have everybody to thank for that extraordinary moment. We saw there the amazing work that JOPHREY BROWN had done as far as the driving the bus and that amazing bus jump was concerned. Of course, he was involved in a whole bunch of other sequences in the picture too. But in 2010, he received the Taurus World Stunt Awards Lifetime Achievement Award, and was very well deserved. And it was presented by his great friend Jeannie Epper. And I thought you might like to take a look at the piece of footage that they put together with a sort of collection of his greatest hits, if you will, of Joffrey in action. And it's coming right up now. So there we go. That's it for another week. Some classic moments there. You recognise Joffrey, of course, being eaten by the T-Rex in Jurassic Park in there, and doing that extraordinary jump from the it's a stagecoach going over the top of a cliff. In the movie Swashbuckler with Robert Shaw, in fact. So if you haven't seen that, go and check it out. It's superb stuff. So there we are. That's it for this week. We will be back next week with more of the same from a different movie. If you aren't already doing so, why not subscribe? The link is down there. Push the button, go and do your thing. Hit the bell, the notification thing, and you will be first informed of any new developments that come around. So it's been lovely to see you once again. You're looking very well, by the way. Whatever it is you're doing, don't stop. Keep doing that thing you do. And I'll catch you next week. Until then, bye for now.